the automobile held distinct importance and promise. It made self-directed travel a possibility when travel by bus and train, controlled by others, could lead to humiliating or even life-threatening encounters. Owning a car demonstrated Black American success in a nation where that success was often thwarted. With a growing Black middle class, more and more Black Americans could purchase automobiles, and they used their cars and their consumer dollars not merely to vacation, though they did do that, but also as weapons against segregation. Even many who were not in the middle class found ways to buy cars, seeking any alternative to public transportation, since they were often barred by law and custom from securing mortgages and buying houses. Still, each car trip could be fraught with anxiety, and it required special preparations and careful planning to ensure success. This is one of the first books to tell the story of the African American experience with the automobile, and my hope is that it shows how access to cars completely transformed Black life in ways that were both far-reaching and totally unexpected. The automobile expanded the freedom of movement and the opportunity to travel throughout the country for all Americans, but this freedom meant something different and often simply more to Blacks than to whites. Automobiles provided a means of escape from the Jim Crow South. They were a tremendous source of pride for African Americans, and they changed the etiquette of travel on the road. Most important, the automobile became a tool in the battle to end discrimination in public accommodations. From the founding of the Republic, the right to move about without restrictions and at will was considered fundamental to basic civil rights and American democracy. In the 20th century, in the 1920 case of United States v. Wheeler, the Supreme Court affirmed the entitlement of every person to move freely from place to place and state to state, a right denied to African Americans. And the people of each state shall have free ingress and egress to and from any other state, and shall enjoy therein all the privileges of trade and commerce subject to the same. For Black people, mobility was always most highly prized because it was often and had historically been an impossibility. Masters confined their enslaved persons to their property, and free Black people found themselves regularly stopped, questioned to determine their status, and sometimes even kidnapped and sold into slavery. These restrictions on movement before emancipation carried on in different forms into the post-Civil War Reconstruction era and beyond, despite passage of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the Constitution designed to end slavery and protect the due process and citizenship rights of African Americans. For much of the 20th century, many white Americans felt comfortable denying their Black countrymen not only the right to travel freely, but also the ability to use public accommodations. Everything from swimming pools to restaurants, movie theaters, and hotels. Black Americans attempting to exercise their rights as citizens faced Jim Crow railroad cars and buses, segregated taxicabs and water fountains, even separate sections in public libraries. A tradition of deeply entrenched racism, including baseless fears about Black men being dangerous and the idea that all Black people were naturally inferior, fed beliefs that African Americans should be literally kept in their places and restricted to segregated neighborhoods. The physical separation of Black people from the white population excluded African Americans from quality education, housing, and employment, and also reinforced notions of white superiority. But the automobile made it more difficult, although not impossible, to enforce racial apartheid while cruising along the highways at 45 miles per hour. The growth of an automobile culture changed the physical environment as well and made reliable roads essential. Narrow carriage paths of mud or hard-packed dirt